Alex just looked at me from across the room, and I was
because I know the name of her Pokemon. It's not Leaf Kitty. So I looked at the parent, and the parent's like, "What's Leaf Kitty?" I'm like, it's a leaf, but not a leaf.
Hey, retro lovers! Welcome to the Nostalgia Junkies podcast, where we talk all about pop culture, retro toy collecting, and nostalgia. And now, here are your hosts, Alex and Brandon.
Hey, also, I'm Alex.
And I'm Jocelyn.
And this is Nostalgia Junkies. So I have to admit, we actually already recorded this podcast, but we had a huge issue in recording where, if you notice, we're in the new basement, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But this is the first time that we are recording in the new basement. Well, technically, second time. And we had some technical issues.
I think we had two issues when we recorded last time. The first one was a technical issue. Sound kept cutting out. And then the second one was I got tired.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's just funny. Like, as we were recording, all of a sudden, the audio just started speeding up. And our pitches didn't get higher. It didn't sound like Alvin and the Chipmunks, but it just sounded like an auctioneer trying to do a podcast.
So the pitches sped up, or like the sound sped up, but I slowed down exceptionally.
Yeah, well, that, and we had like a cellophane crinkle coming in from somewhere.
Yeah.
But we're here, and Nostalgia Junkies is back. And, you know, we had an interesting discussion with your family earlier the other day.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
It really became a debate at family lunch.
As one does. Everything becomes a debate at family lunch.
So Jocelyn wanted to know if I went back to work this week or next week, and I said, well, I go back next Monday. And she had interpreted that as the next coming Monday.
Which at that point was January 2nd.
But for me, the coming Monday is this coming Monday, and next Monday would be the Monday that follows after that, or the next one. And I will just say before Jocelyn gives her argument, I had debated this perfectly at lunch. And then the first time we recorded this, I put my foot in my mouth, and my argument completely aligned with what Jocelyn said.
He just agreed with me. It was perfect. I said, I have no closing. Done.
Yeah, I shot myself in the foot before we even could get going.
It was great.
But no, I've firmly been a believer that the next Monday is the Monday after next.
See, I operate in a calendar week. So next Monday to me means the next coming Monday, not, I don't know, the one after that, because this week's Monday has already passed. So I'm not including that Monday. I don't know. It's not like a rolling calendar. It's a week by week calendar in my head.
You just say what you feel and what you mean. Kind of, right? Like it's this week, and it'll be this week until it's Saturday.
That's what I mean.
And then Sunday kickstarts the next week.
Exactly, the calendar week. I operate calendar week by week by week. I don't operate on a rolling calendar.
We're like, yeah, for me, it's more of a rolling thing that this week is from whatever the day that this is to the next one. So currently, this is a Monday night that we are recording on.
No.
Oh, shoot. No, it's a Tuesday. It's a Tuesday. I do not know my days right now.
Get this man off of vacation.
I have been on vacation for like the last week and a half being a teacher, and it has been phenomenal, except I have only seen this basement because we've been working on the basement, and I have no semblance of time. I have had not know what day it was for the past week.
Yeah,
it's
give
been
this
a
man
little
some
scary
structure because he needs it.
I mean, luckily, I guess, fortunately for scheduling purposes, I go back to work tomorrow. But it's also, I don't want to go back to work tomorrow. Give me another 2 weeks of vacation.
You wish. That's your summer. You have no idea what day it is during the summer.
I have no idea what day it is in summer, but I will say, like, there's a thought that educators don't do a lot of work in the summer.
No, you guys
We
do.
are busting our butts in the summer. We are planning all of our courses. We are planning what we're going to be doing. We're going to trainings. We're going to meetings. We're writing curriculum.
Stocking up on fun stuff for the classroom.
Yeah, we're buying all the supplies out of pocket for our students, only to be told out like later that summer or the week before we go back, or the day before we go back, that our placement has switched and we're now teaching a different class.
Yep, that's always a fun thing.
So we do all this planning only to have the rug ripped out from under us.
You know what? At the end of the day, you guys show up and you're there for your kids, and they'll appreciate it more than you could understand.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing about working with middle schoolers. Like they definitely appreciate it. They will just never admit it.
Never say that you have any affection or appreciation for anyone ever.
Is that from something? Or
No, I'm just making a funny voice.
Sweetie, you don't need to try to make a funny voice.
Oh, thanks. That's really nice.
So
welcome to almost 3 years of marriage, folks.
Exactly. We're going on over 2.5 right now. We're closing in on that third. But let's last time Jocelyn was on the podcast, we talked about the new Scarlet and Violet video game coming out, which at this point have now been out for about 2 months. And I know I beat it in the first weekend, and you're almost done with it.
You beat it really fast. You spent a lot of time on that.
Yeah, it was my
It was
goal.
great. But I will say that I have enjoyed this Pokemon game more than I have any others, and I actually helped teach somebody how to play Pokemon on this
Yes.
game the other day,
We had
which was super cool.
some friends over and with their kids, and their kid just hasn't really been getting into the Pokemon. And I mean, there's a lot of reading in the games nowadays. It's not just button mashing anymore. I mean, it could still just be button mashing, but there's just so much dialogue that it's hard to keep track of it.
And it's got so many different
Facets.
storylines. And also, if you don't know the general structure of a Pokemon game, unless somebody like explains it to you, like you did for me,
Mhm.
or unless you spend a lot of time figuring it out, it can be hard to get into. Like, kept asking, "How do I fight? How do I fight?" I'm like, "You're literally in the middle of a battle right now."
Well,
But
that's why
okay,
it's like I really feel like Ash is my kindred spirit. 'Cause, maturity wise, I'm 10 years old, but I have 20 years of experience in the Pokemon world, so I'm just like Ash Ketchum over here.
yeah, you are.
But
Yeah.
I would say the one thing that this game did differently that I feel like a lot of the other games haven't done is there's always been one story going on.
Mm.
And this game took on three separate storylines, which I know it divided the fan base.
Mhm.
And there's the Pokemon League, which we normally have, which your rival and your 8 gyms in the Elite Four. There was then the Starbase crew, which was interesting. It kind of made me think of doing Terradens or doing the old Totem Pokemon. And
Not my
then we
fave.
had our last one, which was Arvin, which was I guess that was more like the Totem Pokemon with what were they called? Not Titans. They
Yeah.
were Titans. They were
Uh
Titans. Yeah. I'm so used to Titan Pokemon from, or no, it was the Alpha Pokemon in Legends
huh.
Arceus. Like, we've
Oh,
had so many different types of Pokemon: Totem, Titans, Alphas. It's been a lot.
a lot of titles.
But do you want to just we'll quickly dissect each of the storylines?
Sure. I mean, with Nimona, your regular track that you had there with the gyms and the
Mhm.
Elite Four. I think it was wildly annoying at first
Mhm.
that she constantly
Oh
wanted
my
to
gosh,
battle.
she was just on you. Like, I love all the memes that have come out. It's like, you'll never leave me ever.
She was on you like green on grass,
You
man.
only need to battle me forever and ever and ever.
Forever.
It was a lot. But I will say, like, looking back on having completed all the entire game, this had some of the most depressing storylines because when you get to know why Nimona is the way that she is, it's really because she has no friends because she's a naturally gifted battler.
Yeah, and she just wants to do something that's fun for her, and battling is fun, but she's too good at it, so no one wants to engage with her about
Yeah,
it.
like one of the cool features of it being taking place at a school, you can go to the different rooms throughout the game and you can like interact with the characters at different parts and see their story behind the scenes opposed to them just kind of finding you on your path. And you see Nimona trying to battle people around the school. And they're like, wait, you're that student body president. No, I'm good. And they just run away from her and they just kind of leave her on red and they don't want to battle her.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
it's
they
it's
totally ghost her.
really depressing because Nimona even tells you that she's gone easy on people and she still beats them and then they get mad at her. Or she goes so easy that they know that she's going easy, then they get mad because she's not actually battling them, just kind of placating them. Like this girl can't win. So when you actually do beat her and you actually show some prowess, it shows a reason as to why she wants to battle you. And it makes a lot of sense because this girl doesn't have friends and she actually sees you as someone who will accept her for who she is.
Yeah, and I mean, I think her most challenging competition up until that point was adults, and if you've ever been a kid who can't make friends, I think trying to be friends with an adult is probably your least viable
Mhm,
like least fun option. At least they might be able to battle, but you're not gonna have corresponding life events that you can
mhm.
bond over. It's gonna be
Well,
like, well, I'm having trouble in biology class, and they're
and
like,
even in the game when she battles the current champion Gita, who by far was, I really hope that they beef her up in the DLC because Gita even mentions the fact that Nimona beat her easily, and she could tell that Nimona was going easy on her, and she is the top champion.
yeah,
Like, it's sad. And then all the storylines kind of had that thing about acceptance and just it was depressing. Like, you think about the Star Crew, like the Star Bases. It was all about taking down the people who were about to be expelled from school.
yeah. I mean, the Star Crew track was not my favorite.
Yeah.
That the storyline, like we've talked about, you and I,
Mhm.
the storyline was there. It just wasn't presented well enough to
Mhm.
be engaging. And I think that's part of the issue with an open world concept is that there's no linear, like you're going to this star battle and then this star crew battle and then that star crew battle. You could go and do whichever ones you wanted to.
Mhm.
Um, but then you got kind of like this disjointed story. So you're getting
Uh-huh.
like text messages in the wrong order.
Well, so that was actually I was gonna bring that up as well.
Hmm.
That with both of like Arvin's storylines and the Mona storyline, they are based upon a linear progression. Where no matter which event you do first or you do last, like if you decided to train all your Pokemon up to level 47 and go to the last gym first, you're still gonna get that first interaction with the Mona cutscene.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what gym you're at, you still get the same cutscenes.
Hmm.
Where with the star bases, those cutscenes are tied to location.
Yeah. They really need to be done in the correct order.
Yeah, and if you mess that up, you're not getting the story in the right order. And then if you're doing like the first star base and then you go do a bunch of other stuff and then you go to the second star base, you're not going to get that continual storyline. So they really kind of screwed over that storyline. And like I know you didn't enjoy it to begin with. It wasn't that flushed out to begin with. Looking at it from an like at the end of it, the storyline was great.
Hmm.
It was just told terribly.
I will say I did like running around with like your top 3 Pokemon and having to defeat a certain amount of their
The new
Pokemon.
battle mechanic.
Yeah, that was really interesting. And I enjoyed that once you had like Pokemon that were the right level to go through there and were the right
No,
type.
I'm wondering if that was a way to kind of like force Pokemon Unite down our throats. Because like they came out with the new Pokemon Unite game, which is like League of Legends.
No,
You
you're saying a
didn't you
bunch of
didn't know
words.
that? Okay, I'm saying a bunch of words. So Pokemon came out with a game called Pokemon Unite, called
Mhm.
but similar to League of Legends. I've never played either game. I'm going off all of what I've seen online. It seems like that's a similar mechanic where like you're using your team of three to go take down another team of three. I know Pokemon Unite's way more in depth, but I wonder
Mhm.
if it was a way to kind of like, hey, remember there's also this game too.
I don't know. I feel like they could have just put it in there as a different way of
Mhm.
battling in this particular storyline because they've got 3 different ones.
Mhm.
And, between your traditional battle and then you've got this kind of like free
And then the
form battle
star-based
and
battle.
no, that's what I'm talking about.
And
The Star
I'm talking about the big one at the end though.
Oh, I'm not even talking about that one. I'm
Oh,
talking about the 3 storylines that we've got. So we've
okay.
got Nimona with the traditional um battles against gym leaders,
I
and
got
then
you.
Star Crew with this like kind of pack battle
Mhm.
almost.
Pack battling.
Yeah.
Pokemon. That's what my mom called it growing up. Oh, you're playing Pokemon again.
No, no, no. And then you've got Arvin where you had to kind of chase the Titan to defeat
Like do
it.
like a raid battle format.
Yeah, just that like real pursuit.
Mhm.
So I think it's very interesting how each of these storylines also has that different type of battle component to them.
Mhm.
So,
Well, then like, I just like thinking about the storyline from a storyline perspective, and it's all about these people who are going to be expelled. And what ended up happening is you find out that they were actually the ones being bullied on campus who decided to stand up to their bullies. And then when people realized you could actually stand up to the bullies then went to the headmaster. Was like, "Yeah, these star kids, they're bullying us." And then that's when they got in trouble. And so then the star people just left. And it's like, it's again, it's coming into accept like who you are is who you are and like what you want to be.
oh, spoilers, by the way, if you
Oh
haven't
yeah,
played the game.
I'm pretty sure like you know that we've played this game. We talked about having played through it. Like we're gonna talk about it.
But
And
we're going to come up to Arvin and
oh
other stuff. So we need to
yeah,
just
we
at
are
least
gonna
put a
if
spoiler.
you don't want to like hear the rest of this because we're gonna go full into like the end of the game, like post game.
Because, like, I cried. Um, yeah.
Yeah. So
So,
this is your warning. We're gonna talk about Arvin's storyline next, which I'm just gonna say this at the beginning. Arvin has the most depressing storyline out of every single character
this guy could not win.
in all the Pokemon universe, and I will stake my name on that.
Hmm. It was pretty traumatic, actually.
So do you want to tell us what happens at the beginning of Arvin's story and why you have to know him?
Oh, my dear sweet Arvin. Okay. At first, you do not like him. At least I did not like him. He seemed like a prick who couldn't really get a handle on what was going on and just wanted to do his own thing, which is fair. I honestly thought he was going to be the villain, like going into
He's
it.
kind of set
They
up like that.
they totally set him up like that.
He really gives you like I know you didn't play the original games that much, but
Mhm.
he really gives you kind of like blue vibes where he's just kind of a jerk.
Mhm. But then as you go and, somewhere in the school you meet up with him
Mhm,
again, and he mentions something about needing help on a journey,
mhm. The
on
Herba
something,
Mystica,
the Urban Mystica journey that he's doing with this random book that,
the
only
Scarlet book, or the Violet book if you're playing Violet.
which I was.
I know I'm going to speak as if I played Scarlet because that's what I played. You're probably going to speak as Violet because you played Violet.
Hmm.
It's the same thing. So the words mom and dad and Scarlet and Violet are interchangeable in this entire conversation.
Major spoiler alert.
I was going to say anything yet, but so
So yeah, go ahead.
so then you find out that the reason why you're helping Arvin track down this Herba Mystica, which is from a book that he found in his mom's lab, is because his dog is dying. So every time you
Yeah.
take down a Titan Pokemon, you get this
But you
Herba
don't find
Mystica.
that out until after you defeat the first Titan, and you
Second,
get the second Titan.
second Titan.
Oh, okay, and then you get the sandwich that he makes you,
Yes.
and he gets mad that your Pokemon eats
So
the
your ride
sandwich.
Pokemon, Koraidon or Miraidon, eats the sandwich, and Arvin gets mad. And the first time you don't understand why,
No,
and like it fades to black as he's saying, "It's okay, you can come out now," and it's really ominous. And this is why you think Arvin's going to end up being a villain.
yeah, because it's like this weird thing. What's he hiding?
And
Bum,
then the
bum.
second time when you do it, he gets mad at the ride Pokemon again.
Mhm.
And he was like, "Well, I guess I should tell you." And he was like, "Oh, here it is. He's going to be the villain." And then he brings out a sick dog.
Yeah, and every time you defeat a Titan and get the Urban Mystica, the sandwich gives not only healing properties to your ride Pokemon, but also to his precious dog that has
Mhm.
been his
So
most loyal companion for years.
I know that you and I both finished the Clash of the Titans Arvin storyline first,
Oh yeah,
mainly because we just wanted to save the dog.
we had to
We
save
did
the
not
dog.
care about unlocking all the ride abilities because every time your ride Pokemon eats the sandwich, you get another ability, whether it's climbing or flying or swimming.
Mhm.
But we just wanted to save the dog. We can give a crap about the ride Pokemon.
No, I mean like it was helpful to get to the other Titans faster, but
Mhm.
still,
But so then you find out why he has such attachment to this dog, and because this is the dog he's had since he was a child when his mom was absent being the Pokemon researcher. Oh yeah, because his mom, or his dad, by the way,
mhm.
is the professor of the game.
Yep.
Who's been in the Great Crater in the middle of the place that no one can get to until later in the
And
game.
messaging you as
Oh yeah,
you keep feeding your Pokemon.
his mom or dad is calling you every time your Pokemon eats a sandwich and unlocks an ability, which I have a big bone to pick with that, but I'll get to that in a second. But eventually, she calls you and she hears Arvin's voice in the background.
Yeah.
And this is after you've completed all of the storyline
Mhm.
for the Elite Four, the Star Bases, and the Clash of the Titans.
Yep.
And it's like the last thing that happens is like you're with Arvin and she calls and hears Arvin, goes like, "Oh, hey, can you unlock my lab that you first met Arvin way at the beginning of the game? And I need you to take this thing and then come down to the Great Crater of Paldea to save me because I'm trapped." So you find out that not only so Arvin's mom or dad didn't abandon him, she's trapped. So now you and your team of people that you've accumulated through like the three different storylines all have to go down into the center of the Paldea.
Yep. And it then turns into this chaos.
Yeah, because you're going to all these different bases and you're getting more of the story at each of like the little like research stations.
Yep.
And you get to the fourth one, and shit is messed up. It is exploded. There's fire, and you don't get the same message from the mom or the dad. It's all broken up and garbled. And Arvin goes, "No, it couldn't be." And the whole time you're like walking down, because you can't move faster as you're walking down the first time in the Great Critical Day, you're getting all this exposition about how they all have mommy and daddy issues.
All of them.
Like, let's be real. This game is just Pokemon mommy issues and Pokemon daddy issues.
But yeah, so they really make you focus on each and every one of their storylines as you're going down. But you're also seeing all these new Pokemon that are
Oh, yeah.
not available.
Yes, you're seeing all these, the paradox Pokemon, whether from
Yeah.
the past or the future.
Mhm.
But then you finally get down to the big research lab in the base where you're going to save Arvin's mom or dad. And then all the Paradox Pokemon start attacking. So, Nimona and Penny from the Star Crew, they go and they help you. They take down the Paradox Pokemon. Arvin stays out and he's like, "You know what? I'm going to help defend the lab too. Can you go in and help save my mom?" And then you like walk into the lab and his mom is just sitting lifeless in a corner. And
Yeah,
she goes,
Great.
"Human presence detected. It's all systems powering on." And you're like, "Oh, shoot." And you come to find out that the explosion that happened in the fourth research station is what killed Arvin's mom or dad.
Yep.
And that the professor that's down there is not the same professor, it's an AI robot.
Yeah.
So not only has this man lost his parents were absentee, but they died. He didn't even know about it. So he's
Yep.
been blaming their absenteeism on the fact that
They
they just didn't care about him,
yeah.
but they've been dead.
Which is absolutely crazy. Um,
You
and
remember what
then
happens next?
and then you have to defeat the AI, and it has a failsafe
Well, why are we defeating the AI?
because the paradox is too great, and it's actually causing more harm than good in the world.
So you have to like destroy um, the AI
Because
robot.
that's where you get the terrestrialized crystal elements from.
Yep, that's how you say that word.
I don't know, man. I'm trying. Okay,
But yeah,
you just
so-
read everything on the screen. It's not pronounced for you.
That is true. So then you have to like take down the AI robot. You defeat the AI robot, and then the AI robot's like, well,
The AI robot is very dramatic, by the way.
yes. She said, well,
Very dramatic.
when you go to fight her the first time or him the first time, it's like, hey, just so you know, if you try to turn off this time machine thing that I have, I might try and kill you. And so then you're killing the Pokemon world. It has to do with battling. So you battle them, and then they're like, oh, and then like the paradox life protocol takes over. It's weird, and they become like a super powered AI. So now Arvin has to watch you as his parents try to kill you. You have to take them down. And again, this man has the most traumatizing storyline in all of Pokemon.
But at least we saved the dog.
We saved the dog. We watched Arvin's parent throw themselves in the time machine to save us. Sorry, we watched Arvin's parents' AI protocol throw themselves in the time machine to save Arvin. I actually think that the AI robot liked Arvin and loved Arvin more than his own parents did.
You know, I don't know if that would be the case. I'm wondering if they overrode it and built an extra failsafe. Like if Arvin was down there, they couldn't kill Arvin. Does that make sense?
No, because Arvin was down there and the robot said, and now, like, it was like, not now you must die. But it was the robot went into like the second mode. It was like
Terminator.
I'm going to take you all down, and it locked all of their Pokeballs.
Yeah,
You forgot about that part.
Yeah, of course I forgot about that part. I forget about everything. But that's just what I'm saying. Like, they could have built in an extra failsafe.
They could have, but they didn't, Jocelyn. Arvin's parents did not love him. But the robot's last words to Arvin were like, I feel like somewhere in their hearts, your parents actually loved you.
Oh, that's very traumatizing.
Right?
Yeah.
Again, most depressing storyline. But, I mean, do you have anything else to say about our depressing Pokemon game?
Other than the fact that we just like worked through all of the
whole
storyline.
game. Yeah, I mean, listen, we can call it Pokemon mommy issues or Pokemon acceptance.
Pokemon daddy issues. What are you talking about?
For you, it's daddy issues.
Yeah, that is. Oh man.
So I mean, so you haven't played a lot of Pokemon games. You really have played in recent years. You played Let's Go Eevee. You played.
I don't even remember that one, to be honest.
Well, I don't think you ever really finished it.
No, I
But
didn't. I didn't play a lot through it.
You got to Cynthia and Shining Pearl.
Yeah, I don't like her.
And listen, none of us did. She was hard.
I still, honestly, I put that game down and did not pick it back up because I could not handle it.
Listen, when you have 20 years of experience in the Pokemon world, it'll become easier for you.
When I have 20 years of experience in the Pokemon world, do you know what age I will be?
I'm not going to say it on the podcast.
That's right. Good job.
I learned.
But do you know how old I...
Yes, I will.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then you've now played their first like really venture into a mainstream open world game.
I am really, really a big fan of the open world format that a lot of games are going nowadays.
Okay.
I enjoyed watching you play through Pokemon
Arceus.
I was going to say Arceus.
Arceus.
I was going to say Arceus, but that's not it. So that's fine.
Actually, so talking about like it doesn't tell you how to pronounce it. That is a big question. How do you pronounce Arceus? Is it Arceus, Arceus, or Arceus like it told us in the games?
I don't know.
I will show you the Easter egg one day where it actually says the Arceus system. But so I know that you said that you like the open world format. How did you feel about the story progression then from an open world mentality with like it gave you the exclamation point like go here, do this?
So, what I really liked about the linear progressions was that you built your team levels up as you went through it.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, what I also liked about the open world is that you could explore different places, and when you were well under equipped, you could still go there and then just get annihilated and then go back. But you didn't have to necessarily follow a structure. Once you got to a certain level, you could explore more on your own and kind of get your team the way that you wanted it to, or just
Mhm.
the way that you felt like going. Because I don't know, sometimes it's fun to climb rocks and go up the freaking mountain
To
and
literally
then
just
just,
explore the open world instead of
yeah.
staying on the one path like we've had to in years.
Yeah, and plus, I mean, when it was just the one path that you've had for years, it was really lame. You just
Yeah,
kept
I mean,
holding the
listen,
button the same direction
all
for
of
however
us,
long.
all of us who have grown up playing Pokemon, especially like the red, blue, gold, silver like versions, when you would like walk by something, there'd be a ledge, and you could just see like that random patch of grass was on top of a mountain that was like programmed into the game, but not programmed in a way that you could get there. We all wanted to get there. We
Yeah,
all wanted to see what was up on top of that cliff. In this game, you actually can. If there's a little place on top of a cliff, you can get there. You good?
yeah, I'm just adjusting. I'm hitting the heater. It's fine.
Okay. But yeah, so you can actually like explore this world, and it was really cool. I will say, I think they did a really good job avoiding what's been my biggest frustration in Pokemon games over the past few years is the dialogue tunnels. Where
Oh,
it's the
yeah.
purpose of go here for the purpose of going there just to go somewhere else to give you something extra to do. I
Yeah.
feel like, the original Gen 1, 2, and 3 did a really good job of avoiding that. They didn't incorporate dialogue tunnels mainly because the game was mostly just go here, do this, solve this puzzle or something.
Mhm.
Where then over the course of time, as they tried to up the ante and get more of a fleshed out storyline, the only way to get a more fleshed out storyline was to include more dialogue. So you had to go there, talk to this person.
Yeah.
Where I feel like this game actually did a really good job of putting the storyline, and while it was at the forefront of the game, it was also like it happened in the background as you just played it.
Yeah, I did enjoy that, not getting caught in dialogue tunnels. One thing that I wish was a little more clear, which you had pointed out to me, was that it was kind of clear, but I mean, I just wasn't paying attention, is the levels of the gyms or the different
Mm.
battle areas that I was going to. Because like I ended up in some pretty difficult ones, but then I just like went around and grinded and
Mhm.
got my Pokemon to a level and then went and beat it and then discovered, oh, there were two other ones that I should have
Yeah.
done before
So
that.
in the game, there's not like this is the first
It's
gym,
not
this is
like
the
gym
second
battle
gym.
1.
Yeah, it doesn't number the gyms. You can do the gyms in whatever order you want, but if you read the descriptions for the gyms, like this is a good starter gym. If you've finished a few gyms, this might be a good one. Like it
But
actually
that's
like does
so
give
like
you.
ambiguous. You know what I
It,
mean?
it was, but that's also because there are a few gyms that had the same leveling that
Yeah.
you could do them as 5 or 6.
And I guess it also like it helps incorporate that whole real world feel
Hmm.
to it because you're not always going to know exactly what you should be doing next. You just kind of go and you take care of it. And if you fail, then you go and you do some work and then you come back and other things come easier for you at that point.
That's what, like a cool thing to do like 3 years down the road when we get the next generation of Pokemon would be incorporate level scaling, which is like if you were to go do the first gym first, or the gym closest to you first, you would get that like level 11, like 12 Pokemon that they're weak. You might only be fighting 2 of them. Yeah, if you decided to skip that first gym, go do everything else, and came back to them as your 8th gym, instead of fighting those 2 Pokemon, you might be fighting 4 or 5 of them at like in the 40s or 50s. So like, they actually
Yeah.
scale the gym to where you're at.
I think that'd be fun, but I don't think that you'd want to make the first gym that you go to in whatever area
Hmm.
be like the 2 Pokemon at the lower level. You'd still want it to be like if you're going to go that far out, there should be a definite challenge there. Does that
Mhm.
if you're going to go that far for your
So
first
that's
thing?
what I'm like wondering, like the way that they set up the first couple gyms for Sword and Shield. You had to do the first 3 gyms and then it unlocked more of the wild area. You could go out and explore more. And
Mhm.
I really like the way that they considered the first 3 gyms the challenge. So maybe they could do something like that in the next generation where it's like, hey, you have to do these gyms 1, 2, 3 in orders 1, 2, 3, or those 3 can be done in any order, and then the next 5 can be done in any order.
So then it can kind of well,
Kind
the
of like
only
creates
issue
like
with that is that
gates.
like that adds on to the introduction, like your entry to the game.
Mhm.
Like your what do you say? Like
The tutorial, the beginning,
yeah, but I feel like there was a different word that you called it. It's not exactly a tutorial, but it's just like
the
the se-
setup.
yeah, the series of stuff that you have to go through.
Also, like I
Um,
feel like as someone who's played it for so many years, if you really told me this game is open world And it wouldn't matter what gym you selected first because the levels would be scaled to you.
No, I think that if it's an open world concept, your mountaintop ones still should be like the
They should be.
ridiculously high level
I know, but I'm
ones.
talking from a purpose of introducing level scaling into the game.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I still don't think that like
That's literally what level scaling is.
no, I don't think my point that I'm trying to make is coming across as great as it
I
is
think
in my
I'm
head.
missing what you're saying because it
Yeah.
sounds like you're arguing with me on the definition of level scaling. 'Cause
I don't think that I am. I just don't know how to
Mhm.
say what I'm thinking.
Okay. Because like one of the things that they introduced like way back in like I think it was Pokemon, it was either Pokemon Masters, Pokemon Chronicles. And when you go to like when they went to Red went to Brock's gym,
Mhm.
Brock asked him, "Hi, how many gym badges do you have?" And he goes, "I don't have any yet." He goes, "Oh, then I'll use these two Pokemon." And you see like in the drawer that he has like four of the Pokemon that he could use, but he chooses these two because you don't have any badges yet.
Yeah, but how is that fair to the other people who beat him? Is there like levels to the gym badges then?
That's exactly what level scaling. You're finally getting level scaling. So if
I don't know
you
this
had
thing.
the gyms would scale their levels to where you're at.
So you get a leveled gym badge instead of like just a
No.
regular gym badge.
So if I had
I
if you have no badges
Yeah.
and you go fight the gym in the first town,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
They're going to fight you with level 11 Pokemon. Yet if I decided that, you know what, I'm not going to go fight the person, I'm going to go around the map the other direction. So that first gym ends up being the 8th gym for me. And I go in there, oh, you have 7 badges. I'm going to fight you with, it could be the same Pokemon, but maybe their final evolution. And it would fight them with level 40 and 50 Pokemon.
But like how did you beat the 8th gym?
That is my 8th gym.
No,
You
the
do
original 8th gym.
because that gym was then scaled to levels 11 if I did them first.
Okay.
I will draw you a diagram because you
No,
don't
cuz like
understand level scaling, do you?
no, I think that that is if you're not going to defeat
No
a
gym is numbered.
baseline.
Gyms aren't numbered. There are 8 gyms out there. You can do the 8 gyms in whatever order you want.
See, that's where I'm getting hung up because every other time that Pokemon has come out, it's been a linear progression.
I know, but if you have an open world, you can go to the towns, whatever. Josh, when I played Violet, I went because I played both games at this point. When I played Violet, before even going to the school, I got up to the snow mountain because I'd used the glitch.
Yeah, you hacked the game.
Yeah, I jumped. I jumped in the game. I figured out how to jump.
You
But
hacked the game.
I did not have a ride Pokemon, and I got all the way up there. I was able to walk into the gym. I'm still in count. I had a whole team. I had not even gone to school yet, and my team was levels 40 and 50, and I walked into the gym. I couldn't fight the gym because I hadn't started school yet, but I could get up there and take on those Pokemon. So I think that with the level scaling, if you wanted to keep the static encounters, like the Pokemon that are in that area at the same level, so like on the top of the mountains, I think you're right. The Pokemon living on the mountain should be stronger because they're used to that environment.
Mhm.
But if you walk up to the gym at the top of the mountain and maybe it's your first gym, I think that they should hit you with level 11 Pokemon instead of the level 50 in a level scaled game. I'm talking about level scaling here, not just open
So
world
you're going to
concept.
take your level 40 Pokemon against a level 11 just because it happens to be the first gym that you're battling.
Yes, I would.
No, I don't think that's
But
fair
you
at
could
all.
also then level scale it to what's the highest level in your party. So if you get one of the like the DLC Pokemon or one of the gift Pokemon in the game that sometimes they do is a level 100, and you walk into a gym with a level 100 Pokemon in the front of your party, you're SOL'd. That's why I think it should be the level scaling should be to the gym badges. I did not think that this level scaling conversation would go on as long as
I
it
don't
did.
think it should be to the gym badges. I think it should be to your level of your Pokemon in your party.
Okay, so then if I have one gym badge and you have one gym badge, and I have a level 100 Pokemon, and you have the typical level for one gym badge, is that fair?
Yeah, because yours,
Are stronger?
yes. So
Okay.
so if it's scaled to the level of your Pokemon, you will have more difficult Pokemon that you're going up against based
Okay.
on the Pokemon that are in your party.
I could see that. I could see that. I just think from a
Because you spent that time.
game mechanic a game mechanic that level scaling should be tied to the number of gym badges, not the level of Pokemon that you have. Because if you did it, so here's the thing, because I know you like to grind, because that's how you grinded to get through some of the bases.
Yeah.
If you were going to tie level scaling to how you raise your Pokemon, you would never be able to grind. Because that Pokemon that you're going against would always be able to match what you have.
But the point,
Ah.
no, because it's not just about the level that your Pokemon are, as you've taught me. It's about the type that you have and what you're going up against.
Oh my gosh.
No.
I did not think this conversation would go this
I'm not
long.
saying that they scale it based on the type, but I think that instead of gym badges, it should be taken into account the level that your Pokemon are at.
So what I just said, that you would never be able to grind.
Yeah. I mean,
And you just disagreed with me, then you put your foot in your mouth on this one like I just did. Ha
I still think that,
I think you and I are just going to disagree on this fact.
yeah.
So I think that you and I should go on to our next
All
section.
right, hold on. I will say that I definitely put my foot in my mouth on some things. I just have a hard time following some argument points, but I think I know where I stand on this. So please drop your comments below.
So let us know in the comments if you think that level scaling, if they introduce it into Pokemon, should be based on the levels that your Pokemon's party team is at, or the average of the 6 in your team. Or should it be based on the number of gym badges or how far you are in the storyline? Or how far you are progressing through the gyms, or however they write the story.
I don't think the storyline was part of the original argument.
It wasn't. I included that, and I apologize. I was just thinking because of star bases, and I would just stick that the gym levels. I can't look. So shut up. I think that the way that the gym format could be altered is that the gym levels could be scaled based on the number of gym badges you have, and that's where I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to put in the star bases and the Titans because we don't know how that's going to work.
Yeah, we don't know if there's going to be like
but
3 storylines.
There have been there have been gyms at almost every single Pokemon game except for Alola, or the main Pokemon games. There weren't gym badges in that first one. It was the passport stamps, which was stupid. But yeah, okay. So
moving on.
Let's talk about the starters that we chose, because last time you and I both said what starters we're going to choose, and we both went with our decisions.
Yes, we did.
Who did you choose?
I chose Weed Kitty,
otherwise known as Leaf Kitty when children are around.
Yes, it is.
That was really funny watching you teach a kid how to play a game using Weed Kitty. It's Leaf Kitty. This is Leaf Kitty. Thank God this child couldn't read.
He was like trying to figure out who to put in there, and I was like, well, you've got Leaf Kitty there. And Alex just looked at me from across the room, and I was like,
because I know the name of her Pokemon. It's not Leaf
up.
Kitty. So I looked at the parent, and the parent's like, what's Leaf Kitty? I'm like, it's a leaf, but not a leaf. And he went, oh.
Like, I named it before I knew there would be a child playing my Pokemon game.
But how did you? So people don't know. We're talking about Spirigatito, which ends up becoming Meowscarada, whatever it's called. Weed Kitty.
Weed Kitty.
How'd you like Weed Kitty?
I enjoyed using Weed Kitty. I'm going to say that again. I enjoyed using Weed Kitty. I thought that it had a good. I don't know if it's a good range or if I just really enjoyed the moves that it had, but I just think it was fun.
Had a good move set for your playstyle?
Yes, it did. Yep. That's exactly what I wanted to say. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Because words don't come easily for me.
So I know the Pokemon that I chose, you ended up really not liking it, but also really liked watching it move.
Yeah, it distracted me every time you were playing on your Switch on the screen and I had mine. No.
Yeah, it was. So I chose Salsa Duck, otherwise known as Quaxley, which becomes Quackleval.
I am here for Salsa Duck.
Yeah, listen, I love Salsa Duck. Salsa Duck's a great name because the duck is just continually dancing and moving, but because it has these big giant tail feathers and it's shaking its tail feathers, it's really hard to focus because it takes up so much of the screen and it has a bunch of different colors that it's really distracting.
It's not even just like a sway kind of dancing. It's a very
it's an aggressive
two-step.
It's an aggressive move. And then if you can have your Pokemon like follow you around in the open world, it was like too much. I think I rarely ever put my Quackleval, aka Salsa Duck, otherwise known as Launchpad, named after Launchpad and Quack. I really had him walk around just because I did not care for it.
Well, you also had mentioned how you didn't appreciate how the kind of like static movement that it was supposed to have, or like
Oh
it
yeah,
did not
yeah.
actually
So
coincide with its move.
the general sway that a Pokemon like normally has while it's standing out like on the battlefield, the, the Salsa Ducks one is this not aggressive, but
It's a
it's a
two-step.
big dance. And then so if its animation for its move doesn't perfectly sync up with where it is in the dance, it kind of glitches for a second. And it only happened a few times. It was enough that I was like, oh, so whenever I use this move and I don't like it, the game just doesn't load properly or doesn't do something properly, which happens often with this game because it's a lot that's running right now, and like it's getting better.
You
And
got grass waving. You got waves going. You got.
you got Glitchland. Oh my god! Oh, how do we not talk about
I
that?
don't know.
Oh my gosh! But yeah, so the it was just I think we enjoyed the starters. They were just they weren't the best Pokemon. They weren't like
Oh, and then there was
yeah.
also
We'll talk about those Pokemon.
what was the name of
We'll
the?
talk about those Pokemon.
No, I'm talking about the name of the other starter.
Oh, Danny DeVito Crocodile
Yeah, with the fire
or
hair.
Danny DeVito Gator.
Yeah,
Yeah. So we saw a meme and it is perfect.
as
So
one
Fuecoco, when Fuecoco finally evolves into Skeledirge, literally the way that its fire is coming off its head, it looks like Danny DeVito.
does. Which is amazing, and I kind of wish that I had chosen fiery
Um,
Danny DeVito.
If you like the Meowscarada play style or Weed Kitty's play style, you might not have enjoyed it because it's more of a special attacker.
All right.
But I don't think you play really thinking about attack and special attack and
No.
special defense.
I feel like whichever starter I choose ends up being my playstyle for that game because I just let it kind of be my partner for it.
Yeah.
I always try to play through the games with my starter on my team the whole time.
Someone who's never played Black and White.
Yeah, well, I don't care. I like my team and I like my loyalty.
Okay.
So,
if you notice, Jocelyn made a hand motion and made some blowing noises, which every time you were on, every time you were on the water, and you have a Pokemon that either can't fly or can't swim, they are on a raft,
it's gold.
and it's really funny because there's no explanation to where this raft came from, and the raft disappears and reappears and changes sizes based upon the size of the Pokemon.
Yeah, it is glorious because all of a sudden it's there. And it's not like it's I don't know, small.
No,
It's a
it's a big raft.
large
It's a raft that would
raft.
fit a Pokemon.
Yeah.
So like if you're playing with a human-sized Pokemon, it is think about a human-sized inner tube.
Yeah. That they can stand on comfortably and do their moveset from.
Now the best part is when you're like just traversing around the game.
Yeah.
If you have a Pokemon who can't fly, can't swim, walking with you and you go in the water, the raft comes out of nowhere and they start flying on. Well, they're not
Yeah.
flying, but they're moving
It's
on
almost
like a
like
jet
they've
ski.
got like a line connected to your
Yeah,
your ride
they went
Pokemon.
tubing.
They did. They went tubing. But so we
Every-
had no idea where this raft comes from at all. And once we discovered that it was there, we were like, wait, so how does this show up? How does this happen? Are you just sitting there like blowing up an inner tube real fast? Like, hold on, wild Pokemon. I gotta put mine on here.
Yeah, it's very interesting, but that was the joke that came from that. So anytime like we were playing Pokemon, we see each other having like the raft out, we'd be making that motion, that sound effect. Yeah, it was very interesting.
It was great.
But so last thing we want to talk about with Pokemon is the top 3 favorite Pokemon that we each had from the region. And I want to make sure that Josh remembers that this is from the region, not overall.
I'm not good at that.
So I'm gonna tell you. You want me to tell you which one you can't choose right off the bat? Mimikyu.
No,
I know you like Mimikyu.
I do.
You didn't know the storyline behind Mimikyu, and you just thought it was a stupid looking Pokemon that looked like trash.
Yeah.
And then I told you the storyline, and it
now I
broke your
want
heart.
a plushie.
Yeah. So if you didn't know, Mimikyu is a ghost Pokemon that embodies a discarded plushie of Pikachu because its own personal face just causes grief, and it only wanted and wants no love. So now it embodies the most loved plush that it could find.
It's so sad.
It is sad. But who has a sadder story, Mimikyu or Arven?
That is an honest to goodness tough
Like,
call.
I mean, Arven, it's sad,
yeah.
but Mimikyu, it's every Mimikyu known to Earth, like man.
Yeah, it's every single one.
Which I know you and I have had this conversation that I think that there should be regional forms or location forms for Mimikyu, much like how we have different patterns for Spinda, different locations, different wing patterns for Vivalion. I think that Mimikyu should have different plushie forms based on where it's located in the map.
I agree. You're gonna have different discarded toys in different regions.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's real cute, and I love him.
Yeah. So, top 3 favorite Pokemon for the region.
Do you remember what mine
I think one was Weed Kitty.
were? Oh, thanks. Okay, so Weed Kitty. You should have put mine on the stinking.
I thought about it, but then I didn't. I know I will save one of my top ones for last. I know we shared it.
Oh, that's helpful. Okay, so I just need to remember one more.
Yep. Or we could do that one next. Here, so I'll do my first. My first one had to be King Gambit. I've always been a Bisharp fan, the Dark and
Did
Steel
like that
one.
one.
And giving Bisharp another evolution was amazing. I absolutely loved the fact that it had a really different way to evolve. You know, you had to defeat certain Bisharp that had crowds of Pawniards around them and to do a certain enough of them in order to then evolve. And it was a great Pokemon. It had a great ability of Supreme Overlord.
Was he the
It was
guy who
fun.
was sitting?
Yeah, he was one that was sitting on the stool and looked like he was taking a poop the entire time.
Oh, okay, got it. He was like
And
thinking
yeah,
man.
he was one that had the thick butt when he fell over and you could see his cheeks.
Great. That's wonderful.
It's true. It's what happened. King Gambit got that booty. Mhm. So then, do you want to say your next one?
Yeah, I think it might be the one that we share though.
The pink one?
Yes.
Yep.
Tinkaton!
Tinkaton. I love Tinkaton. I am normally not a big fairy Pokemon person. I like the manly Pokemon. I like the King Gambits.
Will wreck everything.
That thing, it became my start, not my starter, but it was a Pokemon I would always lead with, mainly because it could take a hit and give a hit.
Did you ever find that shiny?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I hunted for hours using different shiny methods and just could not get the shiny Tinkaton. One of the cool things about Tinkaton is its Pokedex entry, and it carves this giant steel hammer out of the wings of Corviknight. So shiny Tinkaton, instead of having its actual body change, just the hammer color changes, and the color of the shiny Tinkaton's hammer is the color of a shiny Corviknight. Which, if you know anything about Pokemon, that was kind of cool.
And that color is
like bronze.
Bronze, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so instead of being a darkish black metal, it was more of a bronze.
Okay. That's right. So yeah, that's what I remember. I had Weed Kitty and Tinkaton.
So we share that favorite.
Yep. So
do you want me to do my last favorite and you do your last favorite?
If I can remember my last favorite, yeah.
So my last favorite, I've always been a fan of the Gen 1 Pokemon. Mainly, it's what I grew up on, so it's what I have that childhood nostalgia for. And whenever they give one of the Gen 1 Pokemon a really cool new evolution that adds to it and doesn't take away from it, I find that amazing. So they gave the Mankey line, so we have Mankey then Primeape, and Primeape got a new move called Rage Fist. And if you use Rage Fist 20 times in battle, it then will evolve on its next level up into a Pokemon called Annihilate, which was a ghost fighting Pokemon, which was an awesome type matchup and kicked butt. In the move Rage Fist, whenever Annihilate would get hit by a move, it would just add another 50 base power to the Rage Fist. So if you got hit 3 or 4 times, instead of hitting with 50 base power, you're now hitting with 150 or 200, and it's hitting like a tank, and it has a strong attack to begin with. So between Tinkaton and Annihilate, I rarely used any other Pokemon in my entire party. I'm just being honest. I rarely used anything.
Yeah, no. That was good.
Do you remember your last one?
Was it a ghost?
It was a ghost.
Was it
it was a little
pupper?
doggy. Yes.
Yes.
It was a doggy.
Oh, yes, with the candle on his head.
It was Greavard.
Greavard. That's right. Yeah, he was cute. I just liked him because he was cute. And it was kind of sad because he sucked the life force from the Pokemon around him. And I just think that that's a weird, cool thing. So
yeah. So those were our impressions on the different Pokemon and the new Pokemon game. But
would recommend.
Yes, would definitely recommend playing through. It's definitely one that you can play over and over again, and you're going to be able to change up how you play it, which was one of my favorite things is replayability with games. And I think Scarlet and Violet definitely did a really good job with replayability.
I wish you could choose different outfits.
Yeah, that's definitely probably the biggest, well, not the biggest, fallback from the game. But
you made yours look really cool with your aviator sunglasses and everything.
Oh, yeah. Well, I also spent $40,000 on those.
That's true.
That and my black and gold headband and my gloves and all that.
Yep.
Yeah, I tried to make mine look really cool. but you're stuck in your schoolboy uniform or schoolgirl uniform, and it's they don't
Them
look that
shorts are
good.
not that great.
No, they're like the really boxy, like little kid, like cargo shorts.
They're like the original Boy Scout uniform.
Oh gosh, they look awful.
Yeah, they're real rough.
It looks awful. I'm really hoping that they let you like upgrade your outfit or
Like in the
choose
DLC or something after you've beat the game.
something. I feel like you should be able to if you have a champion rank. So if you have
Yeah.
beaten the Elite Four, you should be able to wear a champion's outfit.
Well, I feel like that should happen because you achieved the treasure hunt, right?
Yes, but the school year's not over, so you're still technically in the treasure hunt, and the school year's never going to be over because it's the Pokemon game.
And you will never ever leave. It's like Hotel California.
Mm-hmm. But so as you may notice, we are in the new basement. We are not surrounded by random sheets of drywall and electrical wires
But
and
we are surrounded by studs.
you.
Hey.
Yeah, Jocelyn loves making that joke. I feel like it's getting old and stupid, but I'll take it. I'll take it. My wife's complimenting me. So, but yeah, we I think the best thing about having the basement finished is probably the living room.
Yeah, we have a floor.
Yeah.
Our dog has her bed back.
Yeah, for the last 3 to 4 months, we've been living with half of a living room. So it's mainly we just have a couch. You can only get into the couch from one area.
Which happens to be the side that you sit on.
Yeah, so whenever someone wanted to sit on the couch, I have to move and get off the couch so someone can get on the couch. And then from almost like floor to ceiling, we had boxes.
Mm-hmm.
But now, the basement's done. If you've been following us on Instagram or TikTok, you've seen some pictures of the basement and you know how cool this thing looks.
It looks really awesome, hun.
I know. So I'm really happy with the way it came out. I think the best thing is actually being able to see everything we have because we didn't know what we had when it was all in boxes.
No, and I feel like there was a lot of time and energy spent thinking that we were missing out on things because we
Hmm.
could not remember what we had. And I know personally, if it's out of sight, it's out of mind. So
Hmm.
I don't, have that object permanence. Whereas now I can look over there and see all of my Motu figures
Hmm.
and then look over to the other side and see my Star Wars Comtech figures and all these other like things that are so joyous to me. Our VHS collection, which we already need another bookcase for, and like a
Yeah, we already ran out
triple
of
size
space.
bookcase for that. Um,
Yeah, and it's nice because
so
when we go to tag sales or go to different events, we'd look at the toys. And like, do we have that? And I think we have that, or we weren't sure if we had something, and we'd either miss out on a good opportunity or we would buy a duplicate of something. Which we found that we had so many duplicates that we just didn't realize that we had because we're not seeing that stuff. And like, while our list of games and VHS are itemized in a spreadsheet, not everything's in that spreadsheet. Not everything's getting updated like as it should.
yeah, and that's what happens when you just have things in all different spaces. But what I also love about this is I'm one who will look for like the obscure
Hmm.
kind of things. Like one place we found this Motu cardboard punch out weapon that they handed out in
Yeah,
like
our
the
buddy
80s.
Scott
Yeah.
at one of the toy fairs.
Yeah, so it's stuff like that that I just love to find, and the Street Sharks like gym bag thing
Yep.
that I found.
Yeah, we love our little odds and ends, and
Yeah.
I think that doing this basement, we were able to kind of really design how we wanted it done. So a lot of the higher, more collectible stuff went into the office that will have like the door blocking children from getting in here. So anything we don't want kids to touch is safe.
Yep.
Where everything that's out in the main room, other than I'd say maybe your Comtech figures, which we're going to put on a shelf, everything that's
Mhm.
able to be touched by kids is at their height.
Yep.
And so when we raise our kids in the future, we're not pregnant, we're not looking to have kids right now, but someday in the future when we have kids, we can educate them about what we grew up with and they can see how everything looked and the stories behind all that.
Yeah, and I think it's a really special space. It's like almost doubled our living area, which has been really fantastic. And
Hmm.
I think the choices that we made design wise really help uh, accentuate the special things that we do have. Like we went with really neutral colors and a lot of open shelving.
Hmm.
A lot of
We put shelving, like whenever they did the bump outs for the pipes, we did a lot of shelving along that too.
yeah, a lot of
So our
creative
little
storage.
odds and ends like get to go in different places. So they're not taking up a bunch of shelves.
Yeah, we really were intentional about bringing furniture into this space that wasn't just furniture that
Functionality.
functionality. It was also, this is display. This is like really um honoring the collections as they are, and not like in like a this is wonderful kind
But
of
like
way, but like,
everything gets its own space. So, we're not really mixing the brands on one shelf. Like everything gets its own finite area.
but I'm not like, yes, that, but also like we're not just cluttering things up. Like we really made a point to make this like a good space, almost like a museum. Like somebody came down to the
Yeah.
basement, they described it like a museum, and I was like, oh, great.
Yeah.
I always want to be
I
a
took that as a
curator.
compliment. Like I like that.
Yeah. So I think that was a really cool opportunity that
Mhm.
we had that not a lot of people do have, is to create an entire living space around the things that we adore from scratch.
Mhm.
There was nothing else down here beforehand, and we got to move everything in the way that we had planned it to be. So, yeah, I was very happy with that. And yeah, now we get to take all of our duplicates and exchange them for credit with other people.
Yes. And swap them out. And then I already swapped out some of our VHS and ended up picking up new duplicates because
Yes,
our
you did.
spreadsheet is outdated.
I can't wait to update that.
But yeah, so it's been really fun. We're really looking forward to how this space continues to evolve because it's still not done. We were able to actually use it, but we're still missing the couches and the TVs and
Mhm.
stuff like that down here. But it's been really interesting to be able to start using the space and actually record the first podcast down in the
Yeah.
new studio
I mean, I
for
watched
2023.
Yes. It's awesome. I
hmm
mean, I watched Muppet Treasure Island the other day. It was excellent.
Oh, on the TV that's down here.
Yeah, on the VHS TV.
Yes. Yeah. So it's just been really cool, and we look forward to updating with you how the progress is going and sending you new content on TikTok and Instagram. And if you haven't followed us on TikTok and Instagram, we're Nostalgia Junkies Podcast. Be sure to check it out.
And check out that real fun reel that you did with
Oh
you
yeah,
and your mom.
yeah. Mom and I took one of our old Halloween photos when she was Mario and I was Luigi. Back when I was probably like I had to be 6 or
You were
7.
so little.
Yeah, we drew on marker mustaches with the craft marker from, must have been Crayola, and it said it was able to wash off. I will tell you this: maybe it could wash off immediately, but if you wore that marker mustache for hours while trick or treating, when it washed off, it was green because I went to school the next week with a green mustache. But I got Mom to dress up in a Mario costume, and she and I did the Simple Plan "I'm Just a Kid" TikTok trend.
Yep. It was really cute.
Yeah, so it was pretty good. So if you haven't checked us out on the Solid Junkies podcast on Instagram and TikTok, make sure you do that. Otherwise, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, which is the same thing as Apple, Google Play, Amazon Music, all that. Make sure you comment 5 stars, leave a review, whatever, all the normal jargon. But we'll see you around.
Thanks for your support.
Bye.
Bye.
That's all, folks. Thank you for listening to the Nostalgia Junkies podcast. Follow us on social media, subscribe to the podcast, and make sure to never miss an episode. Till the next episode.